Thank you, patrons. What up, nerds? Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie, and today on the channel, I have a book that I have just finished reading that I want to tell you guys all about. Not just the book, but also the series that it's a part of. The book that I just finished reading is The Fall of the Giants by Gregory Kontaxis. This is the second book in the Dance of Light series. The first book is Return of the Knights, which I don't believe I have a video review of. I do have a written review, which I will share down in the description box below. The Dance of Light series is a Greek mythology inspired fantasy, dark fantasy series that takes its readers through a journey full of unexpected twists, turns, and lots of intrigue. The reason why I was so excited to read The Fall of the Giants isn't so much because of the first book in the series, but it was the prequel novella, which is called The Night of the Moon. I loved it so much. The author's writing style, what he decided to do with the scope, the span of the series in that one, just narrowing down on a particular character from the Return of the Knights, just fleshing that character out, giving us a backstory of how some of what's going on in the series first began. It was amazing. It changed everything for me. It actually made me appreciate the first book even more, and it has continued to just get better in The Fall of the Giants. Now that I have hopefully hyped you up to hear about this series, let's talk about what this particular installment, The Fall of the Giants, is all about. Our core small group of characters that we meet in The Return of the Knights are now having to split up to go on various missions in order to attempt to get more allies to help fight Walter. In the first book of the series, our group manages to give Walter his very first loss in battle. They know that he is going to regroup, he's going to be getting his own allies, and he is going to come back with the intent to destroy. So one of our main character POVs that we get in The Fall of the Giants is Elliot Edgical. Elliot's mission is to travel to the Forgotten Mountains in an attempt to locate the elder races who, according to legend, have been cursed, and they cannot leave those mountains, and they have been stuck there for hundreds of years. Who put them there? Who cursed them? Humans. Elliot himself, human. His job, his task, seems like it is impossible, and indeed, Elliot himself feels that way. In fact, I would say he felt defeated before he even makes it to the mountain. This character's perspective is one that really showcases the growth that the author had in writing this book, in his development of the characters. We really hone in on their inner struggles, their fears, their doubts, the way that they're changed by the things that they experience. Oh, so good. Just one of the many things that Gregory Kontaxis improved on in this book. The creatures that make up the elder races, the Elwyn, elves, giants, to name a few, are the biggest hope that Elmore has in defeating Walter. But Elliot is smart enough to know not to put all of his eggs in one basket. Even though it's not known if Elliot will have the power to break the curse, others have tried and failed. Right now, he's the best candidate they have to try. While he's doing that, the other members of his group, John the Long Arm, a former bounty hunter and confidant of Walter, he has been sent on his own mission, and I got so tickled at him. He is probably one of the most human characters in this one. I would also call him morally gray. All of the characters seem to be so starkly black or white in their beliefs, but I would say that John the Longarm is the most human of them all because he's sort of out to save his own skin. He did make a promise to Elliot in the first book, but it was kind of one of those when they're caught up in the victory of the battle they won against Walter, and he makes this promise to Elliot. Well, he spends a lot of time trying to save his own skin, getting somewhere to safety, but that promise he made is always sitting at the back of his head, and you're just not sure what this character is going to do at any given time. The one thing you can count on is it's going to include a tavern or a brothel. Another member of the group, Eleanor, is sent to become governor of a portion of Elmore that has sort of been forgotten about, as many of these smaller places have, which is why Elmore is in such peril of being defeated by Walter. They kind of forgot about all of the people that are under that kingdom's purview, and now they're seeing the consequences of those actions. And then the final POV I want to touch on is Selwyn. Oh my goodness, this one had me on the edge of my seat. Selwyn is another one who has been sent to try and get an alliance with another group that has been ignored and left by the wayside. And this group is a little bit different from the area that Eleanor went to, in that this group has been looking after themselves, and they also seem to have a very loose alliance with Walter already. This was so, the intrigue in The Fall of the Giants was chef's kiss. It was so good. It's what kept me picking up this book. It's what kept me thinking about this book. It's what has kept me thinking about this book and this series, even after all of the days it's been since I finished this book. I wouldn't call it fast-paced. I would say this is a medium-paced series, and I'm really appreciating just the gradual building of the scope of the series. This book really showed me what I think is a preview into just how large, how sweeping, how broad this story is going to get before it's over, and I'm here for it. Really quickly, I do want to mention, if you have read the first book and you're worried that you're not going to remember everything that happened before starting The Fall of the Giant, the author was wonderful in that he includes an extensive character list in the beginning, and there's also a recap, the story so far chapter that brings you back up to speed with what happened in book one, where everything was left, and then we go right into picking up where the first one left off. One of the things that I loved the most about The Fall of the Giants is the narrative style that the author chose. It's mostly through dialogue. There is some action, there is some movement in the story that's through the actions of the characters, but the vast majority is through dialogue. It's very elegant, it's classic, it's that throwback to the art of storytelling when it's told orally, which there is an audiobook. Guy Barnes has returned to narrate the second installment of the story, and he did such a great job. The reason why I liked this style so much, which if you remember seeing my review for the first one, I did not vibe with it immediately. It was something I had to adjust to. It was so different than anything I had been reading. And what's funny is I've gone on to read more books in this style now, and I've really been loving them. The characters' chapters are mapped out in such a way that the reader gets the story chronologically, real time as things are happening. We get to see each of these characters as they're trying to carry out each of their tasks, what they learn in each of these locations about themselves and about the people that are there, how that experience changes or shifts things in these different characters. And I have to tell y'all, Elliot was my favorite in the first book, but in this particular book, it's Eleanor, and not just Eleanor herself, but when her plot line intersects with a new character in this one, whose name is Henri. Oh my goodness. And I can't leave out Reynard. Oh, this book is so good. My experience with the progression of this series is so funny to me. The first book, The Return of the Night, I was a little interested, but I wasn't sold. The prequel novella, The Night of the Moon, turned me into a fan. The Fall of the Giants has made this one of my most highly anticipated series, and I cannot wait to see what book 3 is going to hold. My prediction is that it is going to get very, very dark, and I am here for it. Sure, the Dance of Light series has a lot of familiar tropes, a lot of familiar plot lines, but what makes it different, what makes it stand out from other series, is how the author presents this to us. Something about the characters in this series, they're very no nonsense. They know exactly what they believe in, they know what they're about, they are stalwart, and they're also really intelligent. And I wasn't sure if I liked that right away. I thought, dang, nobody is fooling anybody. They're trying to fool each other, but nobody's falling for it. They're calling them on their bullshit, so there's no drama. But then I thought, okay, a lot of these people that we're reading about, they hold positions of power. They have ruled in some capacity for a long time. They've been playing the game for years, decades even. So of course, they can see through the tactics of their opposing members or those that are doing the whole politicking, trying to get allies. They know what's going on behind the scenes, but that also makes it really good. It's a very no-nonsense way that all of this is presented. So when something shocking does happen, when somebody does manage to pull the wool over someone else's eyes, it makes it a much bigger surprise because the majority of these characters are so no nonsense, if that makes any type of sense. I feel like I just talked in a big circle to say that I just really love how this one is written, and that's what makes it stand apart from the other types of grimdark or dark fantasy series that it shares the genre with. So that is where I am going to leave you all with on The Fall of the Giants. I gave this one a 4-star rating. Like I said, I'm very excited to continue this journey once book 3 is available. Again, you can get the audiobook that is narrated by Guy Barnes on Audible. It's also included in Kindle Unlimited if you're a subscriber to that. And of course, you can also pick it up in hardcover or paperback. I will have links in the description box below to where you can get your copy, where you can read the book description in full. I'll also throw in the author's website if you would like to learn more about Gregory Kontaxis. This series is actually written in Greek and then translated into English, which is where I believe book 3 is currently. It's waiting to be translated into English. The covers, I cannot wait to see what is going to be on the cover of book 3. This is one of the most beautiful fantasy series as far as covers that I personally own. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for watching today. Hope that I was able to encourage you to continue this series if you've already started it. And if not, I hope I have encouraged you to give it a try. Thank you all so much for being here and watching and supporting the channel. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Huge thank you to all of the wonderful people that support the Nerdy Narrative channel. It is with your help that I am able to do all of the wonderful things that makes this channel what it is. But I have to give a special shout out to my Nerds Radiant: Chad, John, Gail, Amanda, Star, Tara, Anne, Amanda, Andrew, Kate, Ev, and Sharon.